last round of 45th Chess Olympiad, which was held in Budapest, Hungary, and we got the winner. In yesterday's video I was saying that India is 100% won the gold. I mean, I was right, but there were some mathematical chances if, let's say, Team China won against US for nothing and Team India would lose to Team Slovenia for all, then, there could have been some chances. But of course that was quite unlikely, and let's see how the final match went versus Team Slovenia. Kukish was playing against Vladimir Fedoseev on board 1, and we saw London defense. d5, e3, c5, knight f3, knight c6, knight d2. Kukish goes for bishop g4 lines, although there are some e6 moves, let's say e6, bishop d6, but bishop g4 is a quite interesting line as well. c3, e6, queen a4, knight d7, bishop b5. The only problem with bishop g4 that it kinda, now black don't have this bishop d7, but instead they have to kinda go this knight d7 and then rook c8 or queen c8, protecting c6 knight. Rook c1, and now white at some point ready to play c4, open c-file and try to exploit this c-file weakness. a6, takes, and we got to the early endgame, and now c4 is played. So Kukish needs at some point to go to c8 to avoid any troubles with the pawns on c-file, and also probably at some point we'll have to trade or return and use maybe weaknesses of light squares, because now black after all got a 2 bishops advantage. f6, knight b3, a5, threatening a4, h3, bishop f5, not going for this bishop trade, because it's, you gotta use this advantage, because if white are not able to take your bishop, then, you should be good. a4, knight b2, h5. So it's very important to understand here, let's say knight h4 here is not really possible, because then there is bishop d3 and black are completely winning. So Kukish keeps his light squared bishop, and now after king to a4, once again he doesn't allow this to happen because this knight is now being attacked. After knight d2 he finally plays h5 to make space for his bishop. So if knight h4 is played, bishop h7 is now possible. Bishop g3, bishop e7, rook c3, king f7, and now rook c8. As I said, one of the rooks should come to c8 to avoid problems on c-file. Takes, and now e5. So here he's not going for knight c5, let's say knight c5, even though it's still good. Takes, knight g4, maybe he didn't really like that, potentially there is this spin, quite annoying. So in order to avoid that, he first plays e5, he blocks this e5 square from the knight, and now he plays c takes d5, and now it looks like a dangerous pass pawn, but in reality it doesn't really work out for black pieces. Rook a5, now rook goes to b5, threatening b2 weakness, and this pawn has a lot of troubles because this bishop blocks c2 and b1 squares, which can be, taken by rook. So knight a1, rook b5, knight d3, and now d4 hitting the rook on c5, and now, white need to come up with something. Takes, and now rook c2. But after rook e8, it turns out that this discovered check, discovered attacks are too powerful, and white are completely lost. So knight f3 was played, threatening d4, now rook b3, threatening knight on d3, knight e1, bishop b4, discovered check, king f1, bishop a1, now threatening this knight, and now the only move is to play knight t1, and black take an exchange, and now they're completely winning. Just to remind you that Vladimir Fedoseev has defeated Magnus Carlsen in this Olympiad. So if you're saying, alright, Vladimir Fedoseev like only 2692, that guy defeated Magnus in this same Olympiad. Rook a6, rook c2, knight f4, king g6, king g2, knight e7, knight d5, and of course here, some last trick trying to block c-file from this rook, basically trying to promote if knight c3, c8, but very precise knight c7 first, this d2, king e2, rook e6, king e1, rook b2, and white finally resigned because rook e1 is being threatened, and if knight e2 is played, this, and black will take the knight and will eventually win the game. Kukish had a great performance. So after rook b2, Vladimir Fedoseev resigned, Kukish finished 9 out of 10. and many people are already calling him probably a bigger favorite in the match against Dean Liren. But we don't know what might happen. But yeah, after this 9 out of 10 performance, which is, I mean, to me, it's absolutely mind-blowing. So, okay, it just doesn't make sense. The guy just defeated everyone. 2 draws, 8 wins. Insane. Let's get to board number 2, where Pragg was playing against Anton Demchenko. So Pragg started with d4, we saw Queen's Gambit accepted, and I think we analyzed this specific line a few days ago when somebody played it. So, and I was saying there are like some plans with Queen e2, sometimes people go do d takes e5 and then do this endgame, but in this game we didn't see an early endgame or anything like that, because people were trying to fight. Knight d5, h4, this basically still keeping bishop under attack. Queen d5, bishop e4, queen d6, and only now return bishop e3. Bishop d7, queen d2, f5, bishop f4 first, because now if bishop, let's say bishop goes back, there is f4, and black are winning a piece. So bishop f4 first, queen b4, bishop c2, takes, and at this point we got to the endgame where white have an isolated pawn, while black have this e6 weakness. Bishop f6, rook d1, rook d8, bishop f4. Now at some point bishop c7 would have been a threat, now rook e6, kind of, you know, performing a pawn trade, bishop d4, rook e7, bishop c6, and at this point position was, you know, equal. Bishop e5, takes, g6, h5, g takes h5, bishop f5. Just look at how, I mean, Pragg is 2750, Anton Demchenko is 2600, but Pragg manages, you know, to get some chances in absolutely equal looking endgame where material is equal. Bishop e6, king g7, rook h5, rook d1. Now, alright, Pragg is up a pawn. Rook d2, rook f5, rook b2. Now Anton basically took the pawn back. g4, bishop e8, king g3, bishop b3, rook c5, f4, rook c8, a5, rook b8, rook e3, king h4, a4. Still, I mean, computer doesn't give huge advantage to white pieces, and at this point it's saying draw, 0, 0, 0, 0, bishop e6. So king f8 was the final mistake. According to computer, the best move would have been king d6, which is a very tough move to make, because you basically kind of saying, alright, I don't even need to stop this pawn from f8, because Anton's king f8 looked very logical, but here apparently, you know, h5 makes an easy draw, because after f6 there is rook e4, f7, takes, king h3, bishop f7, and eventually, you know, they will trade and make a draw in rook versus rook and bishop endgame. But king f8 is a mistake, because after bishop e6, rook e4, this king is very weak, it's restricted from 7th rank. So rook h7 before, rook h8, king e7, rook h6, took another pawn. Now was trying to basically create counterplay with the a-pass pawn. Bishop b5, rook a3, bishop e2, rook a4. Now this pawn cannot be taken, and Anton Demchenko just admitted his loss. And at this point, I mean, I think the board number 3 finished earlier, but let's take a look at that game between Arjun and Jan Subeli, and it had a very surprising opening for all people, as Arjun played d5 and we got into Scandinavian defense. So I usually suggest beginners, you know, amateur players, not to play Scandinavian, because you give a lot of extra tempos to white pieces. Guys, if Arjun is playing it, doesn't mean you need to play it, because after all it's not that good of an opening. Arjun's just on a different level. Number 4 in the world right now. Knight d5, e6, rook a4, queen d4, c takes d4, knight c6, and we got to the endgame where Arjun has knight and bishop versus 2 bishops. But isolated pawn on d4, here knight d5 will be feeling great, and potential weakness on a5, and if this pawn moves forward, then weakness on b4. But yeah, there is potential weakness on b7 as well, as at some point rook b4, rook b7 might happen. Rook d8, rook d7, and now knight goes to d5. King e2, h6, bishop e3, knight e7, knight wanted to go to f5 and attack d4, and slowly Arjun was outplaying his opponent. He's created kind of weakness for himself, but it didn't really, do anything bad for black pieces. So was trying, of course, take this advantage of b7 weakness. He took it, rook e4, king d3, rook f4, and we got to the following rook endgame where Arjun is completely winning, even though, 2 passed pawns, but black have four of them. So rook a8, rook a2, h3, h5, h4, h3, h2, and after rook h3, rook a3, king f4, e5 was a checkmate, and with 1 hour 7 minutes on the clock, Arjun Erigaisi won the game and secured a gold medal, because I think Gukesh won quite easily, and then Arjun finished the second. I mean, you can correct me in the comment section, and it's when the score was 2-0, then basically 1 point was enough for Team India, but Prague ended up winning. Vidit made a draw, and Team India secured the gold not only in open section but also in women's tournament as well. Let's take a look at the final standings. So 11 rounds, India is first with 21 points and 4 points behind United States, Uzbekistan, China, Serbia, and Team Armenia. What an insane tournament for Indian chess. 2 gold medals. Obviously Gukesh took the individual gold medal. I think Arjun, of course, took the individual gold medal, probably because he had a great performance as well. Yeah, now we're just waiting for the World Championship match in November, and so far it looks like India is about to get the crown back to their country, and they will get, the youngest World Chess Champion and also the second Indian World Chess Champion. So, I mean, I'll be rooting for Gukesh in that match. I want to, new people in the crown, then it would make it more interesting for the next World Championship cycle. So stay tuned, let me know in the comments. I know some of Indian fans are watching me, so congrats everyone. Yeah, and let me know what content you want to see next before the World Championship match starts in November. I'll see you in next videos. Enjoy, have a great week everyone. Bye bye.